Welcome back to the channel. Thank y'all for hanging with me on this Monday. So this is the time of year where catching a better than average size fish is the most challenging. Now, I've talked a lot about the swank and the hybrid hunter in other parts of the year. I didn't have a great fall with it last year, but this is the time of year where getting a bigger bite is the most challenging. So in the spring, I love this bait. I've talked a lot about it. I figured it out spring of 2024, and I've kind of progressed with it through all seasons. It's a great bait in the post spawn, and it's a great bait when they won't bite a lipless crankbait and you're catching lipless crankbait fish. So the fall, to me, sounds like a pretty good time of year for this bait. Now, let's talk about the size of this bait. And what you're imitating most of the time in the fall is smaller bait fish. So for that reason, it doesn't necessarily fit this time of year's mold. But what I will say, and what I've said in the last couple of videos, is that you want to get around the bigger forage this time of year. That could be bigger threadfin shad, gizzard shad, bluegill, depending on what you have in your lake. Could be alewife, could be blueback herring, but you want to find the ones that are above average because that's going to give you the above average size fish. Now, this is the time of year where discrepancy in size becomes very small. There's a time in the spawn where one bite off the bed may be a 1 pound bass. You pitch back in there and you catch an 8-pound bass. In the pre-spawn, when the water is cold, you typically catch better than average fish. And in the post-spawn, this is a magical point of post-spawn fishing, is a lot of times bigger fish just show up randomly. This time of year, you may go all day, have a fun day on the water, but never catch any big fish because you're not using the right bait. So what I've figured out with this bait in the last couple of days, with its size, if you're looking for something to put you above and you're around the bigger bait fish, this is going to be a really good imitator of those bigger bait fish. So here's my example, and this is my proof. So I've caught probably 15 fish a day the last 4 days. Gunnersville is alive and well. It's fishing really well, so this is a good place to test this. And I've only caught maybe 5 or 6 really big fish, or better than average fish, that 3 3/4 and bigger. And 3 of them have come on a topwater walking bait, the big topwater walking bait, and 2 of them have come on this. Now, I've probably caught 30 to 40 fish on a lipless crankbait. I've only caught 1 big fish on that, and I've only caught 2 fish on this, and they've both been big. So you're probably taking away your numbers that I think you can catch on this bait pre-spawn and the post-spawn, and it is becoming a big fish bait. Now, you will still catch fish on this bait, but it just seems like this is going to be a better than average tight bite bait when we get into the fall. So that's what I figured out about this bait. Now, last year I will try to explain what happened because I had a pretty mediocre fall with this bait. Now, there's a lot of factors that could go into that. If you have too much grass, this isn't really going to be the bait that you want to fish. And this time of year, what happens, opposed to the springtime, is that there isn't a real hard edge of grass. And I've talked about that on other videos like the chatterbait, why it may not be as good for you this time of year is you get into a flat with a little slight depression in it. When we get to the end of the year, you're going to have grass growing everywhere. Now, it's dying and there's just clumps of it remaining, but you're going to find that it's all topped out. You have a fall bass, which is going to chase shad anywhere. Therefore, putting a needle in the haystack, they could be anywhere. Now, in the spring, you could go to those same areas and there'd be a nice hard edge. That depression, the grass is just maybe this far off the bottom. You get up on the flat, you get up on the shallow part of that area, you're going to have the grass right where you want it, perfect for a lipless crankbait, a chatterbait, a spinnerbait, a swim jig, and a hybrid hunter or a swank. Now, this time of year, those type areas don't tend to play because it's just spreading the fish out too much. So this is going to be a bait that is going to catch them year round. I have not found a water temperature that's too cold. I haven't found a condition like slick, calm, and sun where they don't bite it, but it's still a bigger profile. So you always have to keep that in mind. And it's very loud. There's times a year where loud isn't what you want. It's the loud bait. It's probably the loudest bait you have in your boat. So I think that's important to always keep in mind. But this bait will catch big fish in the fall, and it's definitely in my rotation when I'm thinking, okay, I found these bigger threadfin, gizzard shad, bluegill. Now I implement this to get me a bigger bite. So try that, guys. Good luck to you, and I'll see you on the water.